Hey, welcome. I'm Dr. Paul Dyer. This is Welcome to Bridges Live. Of course, you can catch us every Monday on iHeart and iTunes Radio, and the podcast comes out, and you can always catch me on drpaulholisticsciences.com and reach me on drpaulwdyer at Gmail if you have any questions. And I'd like to thank all some of you people who listen to the show, who sponsor the show, and who are donating to the show for the cause of information, understanding, and action. Because that's what Bridges is. That's what Bridges Live is. And of course, on Bridges Live, I like to reach out to people so we can have a great conversation and get some information. Some people are doing some powerful work out there. Another one of my guests, Rashaad Singleton. Welcome, sir. Welcome to Bridges Live.
You bet. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. So, I'm not again introductor. So just give us a little bit of a backdrop, and we'll get right into the meat and potatoes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, basically, I'm from North Florida. I'm 32 years old. I grew up in around the Tallahassee area, attended college at the University of Georgia. I would go on to play a little bit of summer league with the New York Knicks and decided to continue playing my basketball career. I was on basketball scholarship, by the way.
Okay.
And after the New York Knicks, I went on to play professional basketball overseas. And I've been playing overseas for about 10 years now. In the midst of playing overseas, I decided to start writing. There were some issues that I wanted to express to my black people, but I didn't know the means to do it. I didn't know if I had the platform to do it. So I thought, as the old saying goes, the pen is mightier than the sword. So I just started writing, and it's been pretty great.
Rashaad, let me stop you real quick because you really touched on a great point. A lot of people don't feel that they have a strong enough voice. So let me ask you two distinct questions. Do you believe it's a strong voice you had, or you didn't think you had the voice that people wanted to hear? Because I don't think they're the same thing.
Well, you're absolutely right. They're not the same thing. It comes from a sense of, when you're an athlete, you have to be somewhat careful of what you say and what topics to touch on. And you have to kind of make a decision upon yourself, like, okay, I don't care who toes I'm going to step on or who I'm going to offend. I'm going to speak truth no matter who it offends.
Okay.
If it affects my job, if it affects any part of my life, I'm going to speak truth regardless. So that standpoint, a lot of athletes, they want to be more proactive. They want to be more outspoken, but because of the whole being an athlete, making everybody happy, being stuck in that phase, that prevents a lot of them. It makes them docile. So I had the voice that was strong enough, but sometimes you just, as an athlete, it's a fine line. You have to make a decision upon yourself that, okay, my people is more important to me than my sport.
Now, I've worked with athletes because I did a lot of training with athletes on the pro and amateur level between hockey, Olympics, basketball. And the many athletes I've worked with, they have never had the opportunity to be fully expressive. Now, when they end up coming to me because I approach things differently, I would say I like to approach things organically because I want to touch on your heart and your mind before I even get into your physical. Because if I can tweak your mind, you're going to play at that next level, period.
Absolutely.
Now, because the body will break, but the mind won't.
That's correct.
The body will break, but the heart won't.
Absolutely.
So as long as we can move that next level of your mind and heart, it doesn't matter to me later in life when your body breaks, you can still be that athlete that moves forward.
Absolutely.
So that's why I always approach it differently. So was that something you had to work on for yourself personally, or did you have help?
Yeah, growing up, I was the only child, so I had to be self-motivated. Being self-motivated was something that came naturally. I didn't have that, strong force, if you will, to kind of instill that in me. I had to look around my surroundings and ask myself, do I want to stay here forever? Well, that was good enough. That was enough motivation for me right there. So, some people do need that extra, that motivation, that inspiration, which is I provide that myself as an older athlete. I try to speak that light and that positive energy into the young athletes. But me personally, all I ever needed to do was kind of look myself in the mirror and talk to myself a little bit. And that's all I needed to get myself going. But you're absolutely right. Basketball especially is so mental. You have to get your mental together first before you can even think about the physical.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
When your first writing, what was it? What were your directed? What did you write about your first time you wrote?
Yes, sir. My first book was published at the beginning of this year, January. It was called The Hypocrisy of Democracy.
Mm-hmm.
How the American Dream became the African American nightmare.
See, I read your book, so I wanted you to talk about it. So go ahead.
Yes, sir. The book basically is it's just my admission to my own frustration being a black man in America.
Mm-hmm.
It troubles me that we could think that this is the land of the free when one issue has never, ever been
addressed.
It has never been addressed, and we keep going forward as if it's going to go away. And that's the issue of unpaid reparations. Me, as a young black man, it would be so easy just to play basketball and not carry that baton. But see, when I went back and did my research and I understood that Martin Luther King, that's exactly what he was fighting for right before he was killed.
Yes.
See, that started to raise some alarm. And
most people thought he was basing still on the civil rights. No, he had moved away from civil rights because that was going anywhere with Lyndon Johnson. He had moved into reparations and talking about economic dollars again.
That's right. That's right. That's absolutely right. And that's the one detail that unfortunately my white educators did not tell me. You see, when they taught us Black History Month, they just stopped after the Martin Luther King dream speech.
Mm-hmm.
But see, he had a dream, but he knew that dream, it wasn't just going to come a reality by itself. In order to get that ultimate dream, you have to have resources. And that's the one thing that America never did. Now, that was just one, detail. And then I read and I see that our ancestors, when they let them free, they gave the slave masters reparations.
Correct.
And I said, hold on a minute.
Yep. Most people still don't know that because they say, you're losing labor, here's some money.
That's right. That's right. Just like as if they were taking your cattle from you.
Right.
As if they were taking your vehicle from you. Like, hey, we're going to take your property. Let us compensate you.
Yeah. Again,
that's something my white educators didn't educate me about. So, as a black man, you're going to start asking, well, why did my white teachers leave all this out? You see? And a lot of black people, what they do, it's easy to get mad at our parents. Okay, well, our parents didn't teach us this and that. Well, see, as we just talked about after the civil rights, they got the people that hated us the most became the controller of our education.
Correct.
So it's like your parents can't teach you what they don't know.
Right.
And that's why the older generation have to be accepting to the new information that's coming out each and every day, because this is the age of information, the age of communication. Information is flying faster than it's ever been before. So the older generation, I always, I'm not so hard on, because it's like, okay, well, if they wanted to know what we know, they had to stay in the library for 2 or 3 days just to get a little bit of what we can get through an iPhone in a matter of seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just understanding how they hid the history, the overall, just how meticulous they were, and that fact that they're doing it even still today.
Yes,
even today they'll show Egypt, it'll be all white people in Egypt and stuff like that. You see the propaganda even today. So for me, I'm 7 foot. I'm a 7 foot black man. And I know how to control a room. But I said, am I just going to keep talking about basketball? If I walk in a room, 300 people, am I supposed to talk about basketball?
I'm going to tell you no.
My people are dying.
Yes.
My people need jobs.
Yes.
So I decided to take a more righteous route and just be solely about my people. You know, the basketball that's a part of me, but, you know, making sure that my black people have good health care, have good proper education. And when I say proper, I mean education that goes beyond Columbus discovered America. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know,
things like that.
So I've always said, and I'll continue to say it, the problem we had with education is that education was never built for the poor people, white or black. Now, people ask me, they say, why? I said, because let's make up this whole king and queen thing. You can do whatever type of system you want.
Right.
People who had the haves were going to teach their children and bring the smartest farmers, people who study the stars, people who study the land, people who study the ocean. They're going to get those kids taught. Right. Now, why am I going to teach the people that are servicing my land? I really don't have to. So trades were developed. So you're going to learn your father's trade, your mother's trade, whatever, right? So now if we take this into what you call modern day civilization, we'll say the Western world, the people who did not know were poor. So the only reason why we needed them to learn is so we had an educated force, not a conflict resolution force, not a conscious awakened force. We don't need you to think. We just need you to follow directions.
Yes, sir.
And that's what they're still doing today. That's called the penitentiary system. We're training kids to go into prison.
Absolutely.
And even if they don't fall into the bars of prison, they're still out here walking the streets like they're the Walking Dead, still in mental prison.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's exactly what we have to address. You know, the school to prison pipeline is not a fantasy. Like, this is a real thing. As you just, pointed out, our education, this is something I go over in the book. Our education is the education for servitude. Mm-hmm. We have to ask ourselves as black people, serving who? It ain't each other.
No,
because I don't see no more from my community, my black community that I grew up in has not changed an iota since I was young.
And I answered that. I call it. It's not my own phrase, but it's toxic tribalism. So toxic tribalism. So we develop our sense of community through tribe culture. We have our people, we have our family, we have the people that we encompass into our tribe. Now, as we were brought over on these ships, in 1850, we were brought over and we were broken up in different families, so they broke up what you call the mental synapses of our tribe. So we were bred genetically to be divided, so we never had a sense of home. Because the reason why they kept rebelling when blacks first got here, because they were being taught to their children, like you were brought over here from kings, you had education. They were teaching them how to read and write. So the only reason why they were rebelling and they were fighting these masters is because they knew who they were. So when they went over and got the education from a German educator, he says, you need to split them up. You need to divide them. You need to take the children away from the mothers. You need to take the fathers away from those. And if you keep splitting them up, they'll lose the sense of who they were. We will tell them what they are.
That's right. And that's all it takes.
And that's all it took, and it's still happening today. You'll hear comments among the black culture. They're like, I don't know him. What does that mean? Why wouldn't you help him? Well, he didn't do nothing for me. So it's that toxic tribalism that's still affecting the mental minds of today. And the only way to do that is to wake them up by the books you're writing, and I love the book, and the things you are still talking about today. And so thank you, and God bless you for doing that, because that's why I wanted to have you on Bridges Live. And I want to remind everyone, we're talking to Mr. Rashaad Singleton, and he is talking about helping not just black people, but people, because if we don't help our own people, then all it fails.
That's right. That's right. You're absolutely right. I mean, you know, one thing that you touched on is that, you know, as our ancestors was teaching the younger generation about their history, as soon as they told them about their history, they were mentally free.
Mm-hmm.
You see, as soon as you tell somebody who they are, they're mentally going to be free. It don't even matter what you do to them physically, because they know who they are. And see, the white folks back in the day, they had to go back and they say, exactly like you just said, we got to erase who they were.
Yes.
And every year in America, the first thing they tell us is that we were slaves to white people.
No.
And that's why we act the way we act toward each other.
Right.
Because we all think we're just a bunch of slaves.
No, we
or
were.
a bunch of descendants of slaves. You see, when we knew, if we knew our great royalty, if we knew about the Songhai Empire,
yes,
Mansa Musa,
yes,
and Timbuktu. See, when we say Timbuktu in America, it's a joke. From here to Timbuktu, it's just a joke in America. We have no idea that it was the intellectual capital of the world.
Yes.
We have no idea that the great philosophers of Greece, the great philosophers
came from Timbuktu,
the world would come to Africa to get their knowledge.
The first medical educated school was in Africa.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know most people...
We think about Hotep. Hotep being not just a genius in one field, but he was a genius in two fields. They say he was the world's first double genius, where he was a genius in medicine and architecture. If that was taught to black children first, instead of just, hey, y'all were slaves, do you know what that would do to the consciousness of black people in America?
That's why we hope that, you know, that's why I really like to do the things I'm doing now. I like to get out and speak into the community. I like to talk to these young kids. I will pull over, and I have pulled over, when there's kids waiting for a bus. Most of them are black and brown kids, and I'll say, "Come here, young bloods," and they look at me like, "Who's this?" You know, and I'm like, "Hey, let me kick some knowledge to you," and they'll listen. They listen.
Absolutely, because a lot of people, you know, what we have to face is, as black people in America, one of the biggest problems is the removal of the man from the household.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we know this started during the Nixon administration, when they would use the war on drugs, and that was just a war on black people. But we don't even have to go into all that history. We understand that. What is interesting is that that same dynamic has traveled on today, and it's much larger scale now. You have more black men in prison than it's ever been.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of kids, and I speak from experience, of not having that strong male figure in the household. You being a man, if you stop a young child, especially if you're a black man, if you stop another young black child, they're going to be listening, because that might be the most advice they ever got from a black man the whole week, the whole month, maybe in their lifetime.
Absolutely.
Because you don't even, not even, and that's why you always must take time to teach our youth, encourage our youth, because it is the black man. You have the power to speak life, because I'm going to be honest with you now, we all around our mamas. The majority of us, you know, we got a good relationship.
Yep.
Our moms, our sisters, our aunts all around. But we're lacking that man, that black manhood that is so everly needed, more so than ever, because there's so many agendas against the black man. There's so many propagandas against the black man. You have people outside of our community trying to dictate what a black man is today.
Correct.
These are the things we have to discuss. But as you just said, when you take the time as a black man to speak life into a black youth, you may have just changed the world. Because you don't know what decision he was going to make that evening. You don't know if he was going to get into some trouble. You don't know if he was going to go hang around the wrong person after, but you might say something to him. And you say, hey, there's a black man that cares about me. He will know that there is one black man that cares about me. And I speak with passion on this topic because this is needed. The good black men in America have to do what we're doing right now. We have to start talking. We have to start networking. We have to figure this out. I don't know what the hell we're waiting on. A lot of us waiting on, I hate to say it, but if you're religious, we can't just be waiting on the Messiah to come back to go speak to your brother and put some life into him.
And wake him up, no.
It don't take the coming of the Messiah to respect the black woman and to make sure she's protected. That doesn't, we don't need to wait for the coming of God to do that. See, we can do that right now as long as we're building. But a lot of us, we're stuck in that crabs in a barrel complex. You can't unite if you're hating on your brother. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you keep pulling each other down.
Absolutely. We got to stop that. And a lot of that, that deals with music.
Yep.
A lot of the music is controlling how we interact with each other. We got to address all these issues. I was listening to Tupac the other day, and Tupac said very simple, and he was talking in the 90s. Tupac said very simple, guys, y'all got to start listening to the music.
Yeah.
Stop just bopping your head. He said, if the lyrics are not right, turn it off.
Turn it off. He said this.
Tupac was saying that in the 90s.
Yeah.
And today, the music is more trash than it's ever been. And we wonder why so many black people are in prison.
So you touched on music and a lot of depiction that a lot of the black influences, a lot of black males are falling up under the bus and being ran over mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. What do you think about the people that are doing it on purpose? Is it something they're selling? Are they part, why would, because if I was to talk to that said rapper, I'd be like, why are you doing this to your people? Because personally, people ask me, has I ever done this to a drug dealer? I'm going to say, yes, the hell I have. But because I am what I am, they will listen to me, and they will never come crooked at me because I'll take their life out of their hands. But that's different. I get that why. But yes, I have asked those people, why are you putting this poison into your people?
Right. Well, what is the root of all evil, my brother?
Money.
That's all it is. It ain't rocket science. It's real simple. It's money. And what's shocking to me, it's not that it's money. It's the price that you're willing to sell to people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like just a couple $1 million. Something you really can't even live on for the rest of your life these days. But that's all it takes for you to just completely sell yourself out.
But Rashaad, that goes back to that toxic tribalism I've been speaking on and that emotional education. Is because white people could not have ever taken over Africa. That was impossible. They had to get people to turn on other black people because they were outside of their tribe. This is, you can call yourself Tribe A. Doesn't matter. Tribe A was going to capture Tribe B, and the 5 white people were going to get Tribe A something. That's all that was. Absolutely.
And I educate, a lot of my brothers and sisters about that today. A lot of people, they want to be, Africa united and or just a one black people and everything. And I have to let them know, okay. But I'm letting you know, a lot of African people, they go by tribes. And you can be as black as the next person.
Right.
But if you're of the wrong tribe,
you're not happening.
You might have a problem.
Right.
And it's a great, wonderful thing to say. We can all throw our black fists in the air all day, every day. But in the heart of it, You have the Bantu tribe. You have the Igbo tribe.
Right.
You have the Doma tribe. These are tribes. And if you're of the wrong tribe, you can get, listen, we were a migrating tribe in West Africa. You know, I tell people, white supremacists used to love to say, well, black people sold black people, your brother sold your brother. You know, it's the most ignorant statement that they make, and they make it frequently because nobody takes the time to educate them. You have tribes in Africa. We were a tribe, the majority of us being Igbo.
Right.
The Igbo was not originally from Nigeria or anywhere of the West Coast. They migrated there. So imagine, you have a city, let's just pick a city, Philadelphia. Imagine if you have 1 million Canadians come into Philadelphia. The local Philadelphians, they probably don't want them there for long. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it was a situation so, violent that people that didn't belong on the land were actually getting sold into slavery, that being us. So, again, like you say, beyond just knowing that we're black, we do have to identify what tribes we are, because when you know what tribe you are, you might have a better understanding of the situation you're in.
Yes.
It's vital. I'm glad you bring that up because, tribal situations, understanding your tribe, and like you say, toxic, say it again,
Toxic tribalism. Toxic tribalism.
I'm going to have to use that. That's very important. Absolutely.
Because a lot of that is the poison that and that's just poison. Obviously, toxicity is what toxic is in your body, whether it be food but it's the things you're putting in, right? We say our bodies are a temple, but you don't understand that when we talk about temple, it means the things that you are being receptive to, means that you can acknowledge all things coming in, and you can exchange all things going out. That's why we have carbon dioxide and nitrous and oxygen. We have things coming in and going out. Our bodies are our own personal plant. They can change what comes in. You can change the perception of what your vision is so you don't make the bad decision you are. You change your perception, you change your decision, you change your actions.
Absolutely.
So everything's not, if you always going to be violent against something that you believe is against you, then you're always in a toxic battle.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right.
Yes. If you're going to say, okay, but Dr. Paul, people are against me. Okay. I'm not negating what people are doing, but stop looking at it like it's against you personally. It's just out there. Now, you can move through it, move over it, move around it, but you have to change your heart. Because if your heart is on a negative, you will never be on a higher vibrational code. And they're going to keep you stuck in stupid. Meaning they're going to keep you stuck in fight, flight, and freeze. And that's the oldest part of the brain of, I need to survive. Stop surviving. We need to live. So, yeah.
We need to live. We need to thrive. There's an old saying, I want to go to heaven, but I want my heaven on earth too.
Mm-hmm.
And we deserve it. Who deserves it more than us after all the hell we done did? It's very important. It's very important that, in 2019, as I said earlier, the good black people, the conscious black people, we have to get together and we have to start figuring out some solutions. Piggybacking off of what you just said, it's accountability. We have to start having some accountability. We have to start, looking at ourselves, how we spend our money. We can talk about white supremacy and what they did and what they're doing to us all day long, but nobody is forcing your black hand to put your black money into another community.
Yep, that's you.
You see. So we have to address these issues, and we can't shop at black businesses or we can't buy black if there is no black business. So we have to step up our entrepreneurs. We need groups. I think we need a national entrepreneur group where we just, from city to city, we're just building up communities. I have a plan. My plan is very simple. It's called the 2x10. The 2x10 plan is 10 friends, $2,000 apiece. That's $20,000. I don't know what in America you can't put a down payment on for $20,000. Like for $20,000, you can put a down payment on any regular, just a regular black business. It's not an ice cream shop, a grocery store, a car wash. $20,000, you can do what you want. But, again, can you find 9 friends, including yourself, to do this? We should be establishing this in Houston. We should be establishing this in Atlanta. And see, here's the thing. When you have one business, let's say you get a gym.
Mm-hmm.
You pay it off, boom, boom, boom. Well, you take some of that profit, and then we're going to funnel that into another business.
Correct.
You see, and then we're just going to go on and on and on until we got a nice little set of businesses where we don't have to go outside our community as soon as we get our check to go handle our business. We shouldn't have to go outside of our community if we need to go to the laundromat. We shouldn't have to go outside of our community if we want to wash our car. And especially, we eat every day. But I can count on one hand how many black grocery stores I've been to in my life.
I can only count on one hand, and that's probably only on one finger.
That's right.
Black-owned grocery store. Yeah. I'm not talking about a fruit stand. I'm sorry about that. I'm talking about a grocery store.
That's right. This is what we need. We eat every day. And, again, it ain't hard. We just have to have the communication. The young generation, we got to get beyond just clubbing and going out. The older generation, they have to, again, I think just kind of get out of that crabs in a barrel because, when you get old and you get some money, you kind of want to hold on to that. You kind of, all right, I'm good now. I'm just focused on me. But that ain't what white people do.
No.
That ain't what Chinese people do.
That's not
Chinese people get together and they start putting their money together. You know what I mean? So, again, there's a saying that, Chinese people don't give a damn about who the president is.
They don't. They don't.
You know what I'm saying? They don't care because their dollars is continuously circulating in their community. We have to think like that. We have to be as robotic about our money as they are. Because until we do, it's either going to be this, and as Dr. Claude Anderson discusses.
Yes.
Dr. Claude Anderson says, look, black folks, it's going to be reparations or it's going to be mastering group economics.
I have talked to Dr. Claude Frazier, and I talked to George also, and about black economics, and just not enough people are listening to it and developing black economics. And when it goes back to education, this is one of those systemic things of why you don't believe there's enough black educators in the United States, black males, that could be in elementary schools. Absolutely. So why aren't there any black elementary schools teachers in elementary? Most of those people from kindergarten to 6th and 7th grade, all white women. So, or white men, or they have no men. And that's done on purpose. So.
Right. That's right. That's absolutely right. And I don't know. I may sound wrong for saying this, but I don't know if there's. Put it like this. I'll say it a different way. There's nothing better for a young black male than to have a black man teaching him. I mean it's nothing wrong with the sister teaching as well. Any representation of himself is great, but it does something, and I'm sure most of my sisters would agree. It does something to a young black boy to have a black man feeling like them. It's the old Freeman movie back in the day. I forget the name of it, but he had the trouble school, and he would walk into the room.
Joe Clark. Lean on me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's it. And, he would walk into the room and just his presence He didn't have to say nothing. Just the black man's presence will make a black child sit up straight.
That's right.
And that's what we need. That's what we need, more so than ever. But it's about the group economics. It all ties into group economics. You know, the education, health care, the grocery store, as we were just talking, all of this, we have to understand that group economics is, as I say in the book, it's a matter of self-love. You know, if you love yourself, if I love you, my brother, if I truly love you and you tell me you have a business, I'm going to support your business. It ain't even, you ain't going to have to beg me. You ain't going to have to persuade me. I love you, brother. I want to support you. I hope that my few dollars can put some food on your plate and I get a product. It ain't like I'm just giving you my money.
Right,
I get
right.
A product out of it. You know what I'm saying? We all get tired of people begging for money sometimes. But, you know, when black people have a business and a product, we got to go support it. Get something for your dollar.
Mr. Rashaad Singleton, thank God. God bless you, man. We could talk all night, and we will talk again more and more, especially for the podcast of Bridges Live with Dr. Paul. But I just want to know, we have family, we have friends, and we have loved ones, and yet we're going to keep pushing forward. What is your next step? Where can people catch you in case they need to do something for, you know, listen to, catch one of your books? What's next?
Yes, sir. Well, anybody, if you want to just catch me on social media, you can catch me on Facebook. My Facebook page is Brother Rashaad. Instagram is Rashaad.Singleton. You can just reach me out in there. What's next for me is basically speaking. I plan on doing some speaking events. I want to hit all the major cities that represent my people, Houston, Atlanta, and Detroit, and L.A., Harlem, Brooklyn. I think the first place I'm going to hit, I'm going to stay kind of in the South. I'm going to do my local community, probably around Tallahassee here. I'm going to do something in Atlanta. I want to do something in Tampa and Miami as well. But I'm looking to be in New York around January. So, and like I said, I want to start an organization as well, a national organization, just to get people thinking about simple things. You know, growing your own food, making your own clothes, and building your own shelter. Those are the three essential survival skills of life, and that's something that we don't know how to do. Our grandparents knew how to make their own clothes and grow their own food and build their own house, but this younger generation, we don't know how to do that. So I'm trying to get back to those basic skills as well. I want the group to teach financial literacy, and I wanted to be a very big promoter of entrepreneurship, because as I said before, I think black people need more businesses, and we need just a overall better understanding of finances. So that's pretty much it, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for listening to Bridges Live. I'm Dr. Paul. We're talking with Mr. Rashaad Singleton. And you can always catch us again. Remember, you can always download the podcast, iHeart and iTunes Radio. You can catch it also on the YouTube channel. God bless. Everybody stay safe, stay up, stay proud, and stay black.